There's, the Congress is in recess right now, but they're going to have an interesting September because there are both sides. I mean, I think actually September 3rd, which is tomorrow, before this comes out. But yeah, they're going to actually have some Epstein victim testimony that is released in the effort to try to bridge the gap to the right-hand side of the aisle. Because I think they need 6 signatures from the Republicans, then they can force it.
See, so I want to believe that there's one person out of the 535 on Capitol Hill who has the guts to stand up and release this stuff. Deep down, having served on both the House side and the Senate side, I know that there is no such brave person. I hope that there would be, but I think we are going to have to wait for that mandatory declassification. 35 years, 50 years.
Nobody wants to be found dead of a suicide with 2 bullet holes in the back of their head.
Right. Like Frank Nitty. You know the story of Frank Nitty?
No, but there's so many of these ridiculous stories that it's like, come on, I'm not that dumb.
Frank Nitty is not an intelligence figure. He was the underboss of the Chicago syndicate under Al Capone. And when Al Capone was convicted of income tax evasion and sent to prison, Nitty became the boss. He never wanted to be the boss. One of the things about Nitty is that he was deeply in love with his wife. And they had just adopted a baby boy, and she got breast cancer and died. So here he's left grieving, mourning with a 2-year-old. So he got really, really drunk one day, went down to the train tracks, put a gun up to his head, pulled the trigger. The bullet went through his hat. So he decided to point it at his face, fired a second time. It went through his hat again.
Oh my God.
Finally, he just sat down and put it on his chest and fired a 3rd bullet and finally committed suicide. And he's buried about 50 feet from Capone in Chicago.
Man. We got other topics other than Epstein. I'm curious though, again, putting your intelligence hat back on. If Epstein was there for access and placement, and you do get compromising information on these individuals or an individual of any kind, how does it actually go? I'm sure there's a variety of ways to do it, but do you just hard confront these people that you now have information against and literally pull open a manila envelope like they do in the movies and you're flipping through pictures? Is it more subtle? Does it depend on the person? Because at some point, you're probably going to want something from them. How do you inform them that you have the leverage that it is in their best interest to do so?
Well, if it was you or me, it wouldn't be subtle at all. It'd be like an iron fist.
Right on the nose.
Yeah. But if you're Bill Clinton or Bill Gates or Prince Andrew or any of the other, Alan Dershowitz, whomever, it's going to be a very light touch. You put your arm around the guy, around his shoulder, and you tell him what great friends you are, and we know how much you love Israel, and we love you, and so we need for you to answer a couple of questions for us.
Interesting.
This is what I learned early on at the agency too. The soft touch is so much more successful than the balled up fist.
Yeah.
Well,
I think with the right approach, probably the most powerful way to do it is to basically allow people to think it was their decision in the first place.
Exactly right.
They may not even realize that they're being leveraged.
A good case officer would do exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, when people are trying to sleep at night staring at the ceiling fan, they know what kind of kinky shit they're into. You know what I mean? They can connect the dots on their own.
Even in training, they taught us not to make the actual pitch until you were absolutely certain that the target would say yes. And I remember one of the instructors telling me, you want the guy to recruit himself, right? Because after a while, 6 months, 9, 12 months, he's going to be pretty certain you're not who you initially said you were. But if he keeps up the relationship and there's a benefit to him, 95% of the time being financial, he's going to essentially recruit himself.
If you are into quality gear and you are not subscribed to TacPack, well, then you're missing out. TacPack is a monthly subscription box loaded with professional-grade tactical gear from trusted brands like Battle Arms Development, 9line, 511 Tactical. You have two options. You have the TacPack Standard, which is a $59.95 shipped with a value that usually lands between $90 and $120. Or you have the TacPack Plus, which is $139.95 shipped, packed with about $240 to $300 worth of gear. But here's the kicker. The September TacPack Plus is coming in hot, worth over $330, and it's featuring a record amount of gear. And right now, if you use the code IRONCLAD, you're gonna get a free tactical gift worth $70, bringing your total value to over $400 just for signing up. So visit TacPack.com, use the code IRONCLAD, and get the kind of gear that doesn't just sit on the shelf. What happens in the statistically anomalous time period where it goes wrong, though? I mean, what's the move there? Because doesn't that expose the person that was kind of pitching them or having that relationship? Yeah.
In all my years at the agency, I only saw it go wrong twice. Thank God it never happened to me. It happened.
I feel like it'd be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it happened once to a guy that I was working with overseas, and we all read each other's cables, right? And so we're giving each other, attaboys and go for it, man. When you meet with AB Butterfly on Friday night, we know he's gonna say yes. Do it, dude. You're gonna get promoted. And then the guy not only says no, but reports you to his ambassador.
Oh boy.
And then the prime minister calls in the American ambassador, and this shit hits the fan. I saw it happen once. And even headquarters wrote back and said, wow, we're shocked by this. We thought he was going to say yes. So it depends on the country that you're in. If you're in a third country, you just say, no. I'm not a CIA officer. There's just a misunderstanding. How could you think I'm a CIA officer? What's the matter with you? So you just don't see each other anymore. You don't socialize together anymore. If you're in the country where the guy, is a citizen of, where maybe he's in the foreign ministry or the defense ministry, they're probably going to expel you. And you have to go back to headquarters and sit in the penalty box for 6 or 12 months.